Hello, 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 and welcome to another One Lion of Code. I am One Lion. Today, first we has Senior Irish John Games. Oh my gosh. And everyone knows. Heck yeah. He was all piratey on us. Yes, it's called One Lion of Code. I guess you've never seen that if you haven't really been here at the store. But that's fine. It's clever and stuff. Anyway, hi. Happy Wednesday to you. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Delighted. We are going to continue on with our shenanigans, which we've been working on the financial management tracker application. Project can be seen on GitHub, open source, etc. We've been working on this draggable area component where now we can put pretty much anything inside of this component and be able to drag it around the screen, except we can't, because when we last left it off, I broke it. It was working for a little bit, and then I was like, hey, how about when we start dragging, we tell this thing to drag onto this draggable container, which is going to take up the whole screen, because we were having it only do the on drag event on the actual draggable area. So if you move the mouse too fast, then you would move outside of that draggable area. So I need to debug and find out what was going on with that. But yeah, I guess just to say happy hellos to everyone that happens to be here. And ask, how are you doing? If you feel like answering, you definitely have no obligation to answer in any way, shape, or form. I hope you enjoy your time here with us as I continue muddling my way through doing feckin' documentation. Well, I mean, that's better than not having documentation, I guess. I don't know, 700 lines of shite notes to hopefully like 50 to 100 patch notes. Oh man. That is a ratio. That's a ratio. But you can do it. I know you can. Oh yeah, I've been needing to find out something that I wanted to see is, does my bot recognize redeems? Hey, Mr. Bot.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Mr. Bot. Why don't you see the redeem? I don't see the redeem. Dang. Okay, so that's something that I'm gonna have to work on. I started playing around with the bot a little bit last night, not very much. But yeah. I was hoping that I had already done that part so that I can just start adding things to it. And hello, Lisi. Hello. Is what Lisi says. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Okay, so what we're seeing happening right now is we see drag start and then immediately we see a drag end. But we don't see any dragging. And may as well put a mouse down up here somewhere. No, you are not going to do this today. Just go. It has this like 10-second. You look fresh. You changed something? My pillow may have ate my face and took some of my beard hair with it. Mouse down, act. Okay, so we're gonna find out once. Do I need to rebuild? No, should have hot reloaded. Okay, so mouse down at, and then drag started, drag ended immediately after. It does that sometimes, and it's kind of weird that it waited so long this time, but I don't tell my pillow what to do. Come over here. Really makes it easier to drink water and eat food and not choke on my hair. Okay, so yes, we're still having some difficulties. We see mouse down event happens as soon as I start dragging. We definitely get drag start. Drag over doesn't happen at all. And then drag end sets dragging to false immediately. So it could be this state has changed, because what happens is on dragging, I add a class called Fool to the drag area wrapper. And as you can see, structurally, the drag area wrapper surrounds my draggable content. And so what I think is happening is that the re-render, you don't even see the class attribute show up, but on the re-render, it's completely exploding on me. So, what if I just did task completed task, got rid of the re-render, and then same thing for you. And let's see what happens in our console as soon as code changes apply. Oh, which I guess we'll see here because I'm not running the code. And there it is. What do you say? Still no. So it's immediately doing a drag end. Why would that be? It would be because so let me show you what I had before, I guess. I had my drag over on the draggable area. Which is only this top portion that says draggable area, nothing underneath. Okay. And that's now being weird. Why are you being weird? Why are you suddenly going to drag end? Is it really this? Yeah, it is. So it's adding the class to you. So what happens if I put this back up here and then we get rid of that class? Then it works exactly as expected. Okay, so then the other thing that we'll look at real quick, it's definitely adding this attribute. So maybe if we had a value so that the attribute doesn't have to be added to the element, instead it'll just give us the new class name. So right now it says not full, and now it says full, and it looks like it's working. Okay, so it was because we had the null here, which means that the class attribute would disappear because it's empty. So let's start with full and not full, which means that we should be fine now as far as styling is concerned. Right? Why aren't you popping back to where you belong? Drag area wrapper. Hello? Drag area wrapper, position absolute. top 50%, left 50%. So yeah, why isn't this taking effect anymore? There. No, and then it jumps down to the bottom. Drag area wrapper. Wait, yeah, where are you? I don't see a rule for drag area wrapper being applied anymore. ¿Por qué no? Hash drag area wrapper. Nada. ¿Por qué? Why? How does one say it? Actually, no, I'm not going to ask because I'm not going to be able to pronounce it by spelling. So I was nope, not a fool. Drag area wrapper is an ID. It exists on this element. And in my Sass, I have a drag area wrapper, which compiles to my isolated CSS, which gives me a drag area wrapper with position absolute, top 50%, left 50%, transform translate, negative 50-50. And that is inside of a Dukasoft content wrapper, which takes up the entire screen. Can I do position relative? Will that fix me? You know what? I'm gonna cheat and hope that it works. What if we made you? Actually, no, it's not gonna matter because we don't even see the rule at all. Why don't we see the rule? Yeah, and there it goes. And then, yeah, and then the other thing that's not happening is we're not getting the rule for full. Next. What? I'm going to change that to position fixed. I'm confused. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to pronounce that. Oh my goodness. Yard? No. I have no idea if a C followed by an E that has an accent mark makes a strong C sound, or what even the E with the accent mark sounds like. Oh. But that's fine. The internet could tell me if I really wanted to know. Okay, so let's just see if my manual rules work. Yeah, and that just completely breaks it anyway. And I'm thinking about this completely wrong anyway. because it's this style that needs to be on the drag area wrapper. Drag area wrapper, man. Sounds like card, but with an A-E-A for the stay. So card, but fast. Card. Is there a gap? Like, is it card? Or is it card? Or is it card? Card. Like all together flowy. Anyway, doesn't matter. I'm gonna stop trying because keyard. No gap. I should stop trying. Oh man. So I'm doing this completely wrong because the thing that I need is for the drag area wrapper position to be the thing that gets changed on drag end. And while dragging, the draggable container is the thing whose position gets changed relative to drag area, but then it goes back to display absolute in set 0. So this is what it should look like when we're not dragging. And then the actual drag area wrapper, finite. Oh my goodness. So I've been lurking on your channel, but I didn't hear that you were starting to raid out. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for the raid. Hello everyone coming in from Finite stream. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. I know you have been hanging out with Finite for me morning. That must mean it. You've been having a good morning so far. No worries, Finite. Thank you so much for bringing everyone. I hope you enjoyed the rest of your day. And yeah, do what you do. And Irish John is coming in from Finite's raid too, because he was lurking there too as well also, and so is Lisi. Oh, so many nice people hanging out with all of our fantastic developer community, to include Finite. Oh, good times. No, that's fine. I do this, and actually, like right now, everyone that I was lurking on is offline, but I definitely am not offended in any way if you choose to watch multiple streamers at the same time, including me, or even if you choose not to watch me, because you only have so much mental and probably actual bandwidth, like internet bandwidth, that you can use. So I'm just honored that you're here. Anyway, so I guess hello to everyone that just came in. If you don't know who I am One Lion. I am working on a stream project that is to show off the capabilities of using Blazor as the primary UI for whatever app you want to make. We're currently doing it using a financial management tracker application, which I am, you know what, let's hide this thing for now. You dare. Display, go away. So what I used to do, it's called, oh, if you don't know what that site is, it's multistree.am, I think. Multistree.am. Let me verify if I can even find it anymore. Yeah, multistree.am. You click the edit button on the top left, you put in some streamers that you want to be watching together. They each have their own volume controls, so you can have them all equal level and then have one of them turned up or multiple turned up, depending on how much noise you like having. A lot of times I have to just mute the whole tab because I need to be focused on what I'm doing, but at least I get to be lurking on people's stream and still interacting on occasion. Anyway, so what I used to do for my streams was I worked at the Rocky Mountain Arsenal, one of these directions, at the Rocky Mountain Arsenal. And with that job, I was using Blazor to modernize a whole bunch of applications that were a mix of JSP or VB6. And I went to .NET Framework first because that's what was available at the time that I started the modernization effort. And then I went to .NET Core and then eventually added Blazor, which was really fun. So I used to be able to stream about 6 hours a day every weekday, but then I got a new job and then I wasn't able to stream as often. So what I ended up doing is, and of course my new job doesn't allow me to stream on the job nor show any of the code that I'm actively working on or even disclose who the client is. But I can say that I work for Sogeti, which is a consulting firm, and it's Sogeti US specifically. And just so you know, any views and opinions I express on my channel are my own views and opinions. It may not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Sogeti. I have no idea how that's so easy to say. It's so weird. It just kind of rolls off the tongue. But because I still wanted to continue doing Blazor development on a stream and hanging out with amazing people in the .NET community or just other developers in general that are entertained by this kind of thing, I decided on a stream project, which you can check out the source on GitHub. It is open source. It is streamed. I post video, the VODs to YouTube after all of the streams. I like how my my own messages that I'm typing are showing up as a Raider from Finite. That's awesome. Anyway, good times. So I post all of my VODs. The majority of the stuff that I do on stream has been talking lately, but if you do want to see how we came about choosing this project, definitely check out the GitHub. Definitely check out the first couple of videos where I do the design work. I essentially wanted to continue doing a project as if I were doing it for a professional type of setting, professional environment. And so that includes using Git branching strategies, knowing which source control I wanted to use to begin with, using issues and pull requests. And I tried doing test-driven development up front, and that was really hard. I did some design work. Here is the Figma for the project. Weird, I never gave it permission for, oh wow, there's something. It just started working. For what? Oh, for multi-stream. Yeah, that's really weird. I think it maybe uses your existing login. I have no idea how it works. Oh, speaking of, let me put Code Red and Tim Baudet. Oh, and ITC Studios. I love her pixel art. ITC Studios. Oh, except she's gaming. I don't want to be distracted by gaming. Wait, no, she's watching YouTube's, not gaming. Or Twitch. Maybe she's looking for someone to raid. I have no idea. Anyway. So here is my Figma for this project. And I think I provided a share link. Anyone with this link can come to this page and view. So, I mean, it's nothing super impressive. The colors are still quite a bit off. I would love to do some more redesign, or some more in-depth design work, but we went with this one on the left, this flat design. We had the option of also adding a pneumorphic type of feel to it, where it feels like plastic wrap on the components and they're more like physical things that you're pressing or interacting with. But we went with this flat design, this darker color. The colors could really use some updates, but what you will see is that I did, for the most part, stick with that design through and through. So we have essentially the same layout that was designed, which is cool. Same colors. So that's what all of this stuff is. And so this app, what is the app? The app is a financial management tracker application that will allow anyone who clones the project to do a database migration. So that's step one, which I really need to put this in the README. But step one, set the migrations project as your startup project. Set a startup project. Go over to your package manager console or use .NET EF migrations command line, and then change to migrations, and then update database. This will set whatever you have. So right now it defaults to using localDB and a database name of Finanman. But if you right click on migrations, you can go to manage user secrets, and then you can update or put in your own database connection string. I will show you mine because it's local and it doesn't have any sensitive information, even though I'm in secrets. But for example, I could use my local SQL server that is running on my local network. But I just have it commented out for now. So anyway, you set up your secrets, you do update database, sets up your database for you. Mine is going to say mine is going to say that it can't build because the application process is in use. But if it wasn't in use, it would say I'm already up to date. But that'll put all of the default value, or create all of the tables, put some default values in some of them. So it'll seed some of the tables like lookup tables. Then you can start using the list management to add different account types or modify the existing ones that it creates for you. Add some deposit reasons, some line item types, and some vendors, some stores, some external accounts that you pay to that you aren't tracking. So then when you actually launch the app, you have a whole bunch of options for how to launch it. Because I'm using Blazor as my user interface, I am writing all of my UI. Build succeeded. That's surprising. So no migrations were applied because the database is already up to date. We knew that. So all of the UI is in a solution folder called Blazor UI. And so these are all of the pages, all of the components. So this account summary component here, this flyout that flew out all the way for some reason. The flyout component for the side drawer, each of the pages that represent these tabs, this entire navigation area, the calculator that we've been working on, the landing page, all of it. Edit modals. So that's all included in either the Blazor UI, which is stuff specific to the app, or the shared components, which is stuff that could be used across multiple apps. So reusable components, essentially. I decided not to use any existing component libraries. And what else? Oh, not even my own. So I do have a component library that I started putting together that maybe we're going to officially make it clean, make it an actual component library that is easy to customize and adapt to your project needs. So anyway, reusable components, and then the components that are specific to this app. And so with the Blazor UI, you can then have multiple project types. So here you can see I have a Blazor WebAssembly project. And yes, when .NET 8 comes around, we will make a Blazor Web project. But you have a Blazor WebAssembly with a hosted API. You have a Blazor Server project that does just Blazor Server, a MAUI project so that you can target Android, iOS, Mac, Tizen, Windows, a straightforward WPF application. And what you'll notice in these, nope, not app, in main window, is that I'm just using a Blazor web view and pointing it to the app class, which will be in the Blazor UI project. And it's this one here. And that's exactly the same one that's used in the MAUI project. Blazor web view, app, and in the Blazor WebAssembly, this is app and Blazor Server. Uses app. Ashton says, I fixed my OAuth problem yesterday. What was it? If you feel, again, if I ever ask you any questions, do not feel obligated to respond, especially if you are busy. But I am interested to know what it was. Anyway, that's a quick rundown of the project structure. The app itself is intended, as I said, to allow you to manually track, or I haven't said this part yet, manually track your spending and savings habits. It does not connect to financial institutions, nor do I have plans to do that. There are other apps out there that will allow you to do it. But you can enter payments, which are anything that you do from any of your tracked accounts to somewhere else, such as in your favorite fast food restaurant, Vindy's, or some English store, or your local grocer, or Dukabot, or Deflex DJ Services. Oh, right. Two things. Number one, let's take a quick, well, let's do a shout out for Irish John Games, who was first today. Dukabot. He should be streaming later today in about 2 hours. Or yeah, somewhere around there. So definitely watch out for him for when he starts. And then to the wonderful, the amazing, the Finite, which all of you that were here already know Finite, but we're gonna do a for real shout out. That's like,
I don't like how the hands follow. I mean, it's kind of a cool effect, but it's not what I'm going for.
It looked like a Just Dance. Is that the one? That was really cool. So as you can tell, he works on OBS and having some shaders and some really cool effects that you can add to not only your camera, but to just any of your scenes and streams in total. Really cool stuff. He also has done some of his work on there. And I still, like, I have, the thing that I have lots of trouble with is keeping straight what technologies people use. I think, well, I mean, for the shaders, he's currently using C, but I think for his work product, he was using, I want to say Python or JavaScript or both. I can't remember though. I'm sorry, Finite. I know you're not here, but I apologize for not remembering. I know that Irish John uses Unity. Oh yeah, speaking of Unity, this is Irish John's game. If you don't know it, it's Rise of Piracy. It's going to be a smash hit. He currently has a publisher. and he is working hard on getting it rolled out, getting it completed. So definitely watch his streams to see all of the awesomeness that is Rise of Piracy and how he puts it together. It's so much fun to watch. Who else came in that I did not shout out correctly? So Ian, Alex Hart, thank you so much for the follow. And hello to you. I saw your name and then it went away. Fix It 42. Thank you all for being here. Okay, and Xcoding. Let's do a shout out for Xcoding. So Xcoding has been working on an editor, a code editor, among other things. I'm only ever lurking on your channel. I can barely hear you when you talk, and I usually have my volume turned down really low anyway as it is. So I honestly don't really know fully what you're working on, or yeah. But I do know that I love hanging out on your stream because it's good vibes. So many good vibes. And Disco is here. I don't know. It's just maybe the frequency of your voice is low and I just have trouble hearing it. And that's a me thing. But again, like when I'm using multi-stream, which for some reason CodeRad is constantly just exploding on multi-stream. Like it's really annoying because I really like watching Roguelite getting made too. So with Irish John, you get 3D. Yeah, there it goes again. You get a 3D environment where he's working in full 3D. And then with Roguelite, you get 2D amazingness. And then with ITC Studios, you get some really awesome pixel art. And I have no idea what she's currently working on now, designing an in-game tablet. Yeah, so many good people. Oh yeah, what I was gonna say is I usually have the volume set to 1% because I don't know if Twitch is still doing the thing where if the stream itself is muted, the streamer doesn't get credit for having you as a viewer. I don't know anymore. But that's because I'm typically either streaming or working really, really hard on my actual work product. Anyway, I'm trying to say that it's me. It's not you. It's me. Okay, so I've been working on trying to get this draggable component to work, and what I didn't take into consideration is as you start dragging this thing around, the actual drag area wrapper needs to be the thing that moves. But what I'm doing is when you start dragging, I change the class to Fool. And look, now suddenly it has all of its styles. And that's not from... Yeah, this is actually from the application itself. That doesn't make sense. So let's show the calculator. So yeah, we were doing a lot of fun with this calculator though. This one was one that we were able to do fully with test-driven development, where we wrote test, had some failing tests. Why is there a failing test? Excuse me, can I run you while the app is still running? Or are you gonna tell me that you can't because the process is in use? Process is in juice. Why is division failing suddenly? Because I changed the symbol for division. Right. Let me fix that real quick. And I think I only need to change the formatted output. pretty sure. Yeah, good. Okay. Same thing with divide by 0. So anyway, we wrote some tests, and then we tried to run the test, although the test would fail. And then we wrote the logic, ran the test until the test passed. And that was fun. I really enjoyed that part. I just want to make sure I didn't break any of the other ones. Okay, good. All passing tests. These down here don't matter. They're the ones that I started with, and they're just garbage. But one day we'll get some real for real tests. So I need to reconsider how I am doing this draggable container. Right now, hey, it's your tomorrow. This is just going to give me green squigglies. I'm going to change these to the actual names because I'm getting tired of seeing food. You fool. And I will update it here. Dragging. Okay, so the thing that I need is for this thing to be position absolute, but my top and left going to be unset while dragging. But then my transform is the thing that needs to change. When I am not dragging. Not my transform, my actual position is the thing that needs to change. Well, flounder pants. Okay, so right now it's going to be up here at the top left. And what I think I need to do is for my style on the drag wrapper is if not dragging, then you are going to be the very best. Position styles, else. Gosh, what am I going to use for... Wait, it's the opposite. I'm going to use string.empty because it was having an issue when it was getting rid of the attribute. And at least string.empty, the attribute will still be there no matter what. What? Are you going to update? I need to rebuild. Update. Okay, so style is display block. Style should not be display block. Oh, wrong one. This one. Why didn't the class change? Oh my gosh, hot reload. Lisa says, I went on a little journey and noticed that Twitch whitelisted multi-stream to embed their stuff. And when you embed stream chat, it will load from Twitch. So whenever you whatever account you already have uses that. So it's almost like Twitch is like multi-stream is me. I is Twitch. Why did you open over here? Go over here. Where's this button? Okay. So that is still not. Why are you being such very weird? Yes. I'm going to rebuild. I'm very confused. Hello, Mojo. Tasty water. Building. Oh man, am I tired. I don't know why. Let's come on. You're like, you're there. Just finish. Just go the distance. You can do it. So you see all of these warnings, by the way, because I have generate XML documentation turned on. Not those, these. And so all of my public properties, including parameters, are supposed to have XML comments. Don't tell anyone that I didn't do that. Okay. It finished, I think. Did you finish? It finished and it was successful. Now you need to actually update this time. Okay. So says I. And now I have an eyelash in my eyeball. There we go. And you're up here. After 12, take a rook in a book to reading rainbow. There we go. Oh, wait, no. There. I have confirmed that now we have class not dragging. And then while we are dragging, yes. Okay, so that is kind of doing what I want it to do. That is still backwards. So when we, I did do that the right way. When we are not dragging, oh my goodness, I'm lost now. Why are there so many things open suddenly? Draggable container, TypeScript. Anyone else want to stay open? Because if not, you're all going away. Okay. Close all but pinned. Close all but pinned? What? What even is that? Okay, so when we are not dragging, okay, when we are dragging, we need this to be string.empty. Actually, you know what? When we are, instead of using class, when we are dragging, we're going to use position fixed in set 0. And then when we're not dragging, that's when we're going to use the position styles. Okay, I'm okay with that. And then when we are dragging, you're the one that's going to use position styles. Otherwise, you're going to use what? We'll just do string.empty for now. Okay, so that moved. Oh man, it's doing the thing again though, where it is immediately starting to drag and then it stops dragging. And I don't know what's causing that. And I guess that is the other thing. I still do need this thing to initially start off at top 50%, left 50%, transform, translate, -50, -50. So that it initially starts in the center of the screen. And then as soon as I start moving it, then that's when these styles will this styles will take over. Yeah, I think it's still giving me a null somewhere. You're a nullable string, is that what's happening? And so I am removing the style attribute, and I think that's what's causing it to lose the ability. Oh no. Lose the ability to, because if it's string not empty, please. Stay dragging. Oh, come on. No, don't get it. Welcome back. I mean, are you waving bye? Or do you have a question? You in the front with the pirate hat and the freshly trimmed hair. Nice. Okay, I'm not getting it. I am not understanding. Oh, and you know the other thing? I don't want this to be an ID. I want this to be a class, now that I think of it, because what if you have multiple draggable containers on screen? Oops. So you say. It says hot reload changes applied. And it did. Cool. Nothing still though. I don't get it. Why is it doing this weird thing? Can I move this back? Oh, it is there. So, is it really this? My on drag handler. Once my hop reload changes apply, which they're not gonna. It's not even starting to drag anymore. Or is it? I don't know. I can't tell. I'm so confused. I happen to need to disappear as I need to finish a project of mine. Yeah, I hope you fix all that. Have a wonderful time. I'll do my best, Lacey. Thank you so much. What the deal? What the deal, though? I think it has something to do. Yeah, no. I honestly don't know what's causing it. Maybe I should just scrap it. All right, what happens if, once again, I just get rid of this whole thing? It's not going to do what I want it to do. It was working for like a half second. What if I did visibility visible? So that there's always something in my style. Visibility visible. Nope, that doesn't help out. When we're dragging, we get position styles, otherwise empty string. Man. Why don't you want to cooperate? Okay. Why? Hello, Coach. That is exactly what I'm wondering. And thank you so much, Rad44, for the follow. Or is it Rad? Oh did he? As I am dragging. So, wait, why did that go quickly? And what's up with the hovering? Yeah, that's so weird. Yeah, things just aren't updating the way that I think they should be updating. So what's supposed to happen is when I start dragging, then I change the style of the drag wrapper to be position fixed in set 0. And what that would look like is this. But for some reason, it drops to the back. Wait, what? Why does the content disappear when I make the container position fixed in set 0? Oh, because I keep forgetting to reset the transform. Transform unset. Okay, maybe that's the issue. So on dragging, position fixed in set 0, transform unset. I think that's where my issue has been. Let's see. What is that? Fungineer. I like it. Welcome in. If you're new here, I'm working on Blazor-ish stuff. Dang it. I say I'm working on it, but it's not really working, so you aren't wearing a blazer while working on Blazor. No, it's way too warm down here. Like normally it's not, but I don't know. I've been feeling a little sickly. Like yesterday, I was just really nasal, stuffy kind of stuff. And then I sneezed about 8,000 times. Like Monday, I sneezed twice on stream, and then my head was already swimming. And then yesterday I sneezed a whole bunch of times in a row and my sinuses were draining and I thought it was allergies, but I don't have any allergy medication. So instead I just took some Dayquil, and that made me feel a lot better by the end of the day. But then today I'm starting to feel a little sinusy again. Transform unset. This is so weird. Honestly don't know why this thing just stops immediately. How do you loop through nested lists and complex data types? Depends. What is the actual scenario? So there are many ways to iterate through lists and nested lists. So for example, if I have a parent object that has child list data inside of it. So if we're talking complex data type, then that tells me you have some sort of structure to it where response model, let's say I had multiple response models, and each of my response models has exceptions and error messages and stuff. And let's say my exceptions potentially have inner exceptions. So those are two different ways where you're looking at not necessarily a list of stuff, but when you look at exception, the inner exception is an exception. It's kind of weird that there was only one result in exception. But anyway, the inner exception is another exception, which has another potential exception type inside of it, which has another potential inner exception, which has another potential inner exception. So you're essentially doing a while loop, checking for if the inner exception is null or is not null. Or a do while, I guess. So I've done that before where I put it in a do while. Maybe that's actually how I do it in here. How do we print out our exceptions? No, I only print out the top level exception and the stack trace. But one example of looping through that would be for each var. No, not for each. Do, and then print out the exception with the stack trace, for example. And we'll actually start with this. Var x is cur exception. And then we will do x equals x inner exception while x is not null. Very good. So this is one way to iterate through all of the inner exceptions. And then of course we would print out the exception itself and print out the exception and the stack trace and whatever else we're printing out for that exception. So this is kind of more like a linked list kind of scenario. But very crazy product inventory. I have to find validity of current product. Another thing that you might want to make use of is if there's a specific condition or specific thing that you're looking for, is using link. So if it's an actual list, you can do .where clauses, .order by, .select many would be one way to flatten any of your nested list types. You could use your own way of flattening an object. So mapping your complex, super duper nested list object into your own flat object that only has the data things that you need for it. Data things, the properties that you need for it. And so you would essentially transform your each object into this flat object and not even have to worry about children if you don't need to. For example, data entry models. Transaction view model. That's the validator. Oh, right, because they are implemented as payment entry view models and whatnot. So let's say all of these line items here. This is, just think them as a list of line items, and we have multiple transactions. for example, that is displayed on a page such as in salad. Display none. Move. So here's all of my transactions. Right. Are you kidding? Because I stopped the app. Okay. This is fine. Loading. Okay, so we have a list of transactions down here. Right here. And for each of those transactions, I am totaling all of the line items and printing out the summary of line items there. The sum of the amounts of the line items. And I'm essentially doing that using just dot sum link thing lambda expression link with my predicate. So sum all of the amounts. And so this is essentially another way to do a nested loop where for each transaction, which is one row of data, loop through all of the totals and give me only those who have totals, who have an amount value, and then sum all of those values. So that's an example of doing a check on multiple items. Oh, but the one that I was talking about was, how can we flatten this out into another object? That's what it was. So let's say that I had another object that just gave me the public class account stuff, not account stuff, transaction stuff. We have a class that just gives me the transaction ID. Public, and then I don't really care about anything else, or maybe I do. Maybe I care about the account ID, but I don't care about anything else at the transaction level. The only thing that I'm really looking for is my list of line items. So I don't care who I'm paying to. I just want my line items, and I want to evaluate the line items. So instead of going for each transaction, for each payment entry view model in my list of payment entry view models, and then inside of that for each line item, I would instead have another data type called transaction stuff that will have my line item, whatever is currently in my payment detail view model. So all of these properties here would get flattened out into the flattened out into this. And this would be my line item ID. And so in order to flatten out my list of payment entry view models, and I'm just going to do this in a method here, but you don't have to do it in a method like this. You could do it as a cast. You could do it in some other library that does transformations for you and mappings if you already are using that type of thing. But let's say we are going to have a list of transaction stuff to transaction stuff. Actually, I'm lagging all over the place. Oh, yeah. Okay. So I want to send back a list of transaction stuff. And here, this is one way to flatten it out, where you can do a for each line item in line items, or the more fun thing is, man, I wanted to do it a different way too, but I need to do it outside of this. And I'll show you what I mean by that. We'll do it in an extension method next. It's going to be line items dot select new transaction stuff. And I guess we'll use the same variable name. And then of course that shrinks it down. Oh, .toList. And then we're essentially turning this into, that's right, I'm gonna say it again, one line of code. So there. We essentially flattened this one payment entry view model into a list of transaction stuff. But what if we have multiple payment entry view models that we wanted to flatten? So public static class transaction stuff extensions. You can use an extension method, and again, you can use other mapping tools. Are you going to do it? Close, not quite. I don't want, no, okay. you're backwards. What I want is public static list of transaction stuff to transaction stuffs from a list of payment entry view model. So now we're dealing with a list of this class, which has inside of it a list or a collection of line items, and we're wanting to flatten out the line items. And so the way that we can do this one using link is, and I'll do it using block real quick, var stuffs. The first way that it'll tell us is to do a for loop. Wait. Oh, right, because I have the method up here. Not fair. So this is the straightforward way though, which is you declare a variable, you start populating it for each of the entry items, and then you just do an add range, because remember that this is giving us back a list of transaction stuff. So we're adding that to this thing here, but we want to do this a little bit easier. So the easier way might be tstuff1, or I don't know if it's easier, it might just cause complexities and people might not like it. Again, this is using this method up here, but let me show you what that actually means. It did it for me because it can. So we are selecting from entries, we are selecting many to transaction stuffs. But I wanted to manually write it out, which looks like entries.select. Oh man. How would I select this? I was thinking of something different. Wow. So I think I need to do it this way. What are those called? Line items. Yes. Okay, so this is kind of a longer hand version of writing it. And I'm just gonna put them on different lines so we can see it a little bit easier. And it's gonna be a new transaction stuffs. So this is essentially the method that we wrote up here. Excuse me. It would be x dot, and then again, I'll just rename this variable here to line items. And I'm missing a parenthesis. Okay, so this one is a little harder to read when you do it once. Like, it's definitely easier if you have extra helper methods to shorten the actual thing that you need to digest with your eyeballs. But we're doing exactly the same thing that this first line is doing, just explicitly without defining this toTransactionStuff method. So we're doing a select many, and the thing that we are selecting many of is line items being transformed to a list of transaction stuff. And so now when you do your loop for whatever criteria it is you're trying to do, you just do one outer loop for each var stuff in t stuff 2. And now you only need to check those specific fields, and it's one loop through it. But at the same time, you're not really only doing one loop, because this select many with the transform is also looping through your list. It's just that I'm relying on whoever implemented the link select and select many to have done it the most efficient way. So it'll still be faster than my select, or than my dual loop. Dual loopa? So this here would replace, actually this here would replace the need to do for each cur transaction in entries for each var line item in cur transaction dot line items. If I'm only really caring about the fields that I have flattened it out to. And so you can see ways to continue flattening it out. You could do things like joins. If you have even more nested lists in here, or multiple lists within an object that need to be flattened out as well, you could join them together. And hello, Napalm. So again, it really depends on what it is that you're doing with your multiple loops. Another thing that could help with running time was I remember this as part of an assignment in school many years ago. But let's say you have a list. It's not an IEnumerable, so you actually have an easy way to get the count back. It doesn't need to evaluate the entire results and then give you a count back. So when it's a list, it'll just give you the count as a property because it won't change, or it'll change when you add and remove stuff. But what you could do is for var I equals 0, I is less than entries.count, I plus gets, and then you pick some number that makes sense for the size of your list. And instead of only processing one item at a time, you process 10 items at a time inside of the loop. And that reduces the number of times it needs to go through the loop. And then whatever you're doing with your entries, then you do cur entry equals entries I, and then do stuff with that current entry, and then var cur, or not var, just reassign cur entry equals entries I plus 1, do stuff, entries I plus 2, do stuff all the way up through cur entries I plus 9. And again, this is a thing that could be done in parallel. If these are async methods for evaluating that thing, you could do this in a task. Yeah. I mean, you asked me how I iterate through nested loops, and I don't have to do it often, but most of the time I'll just default to using link with where and select, so that I use the least amount of information needed for what it is that I'm trying to achieve. That was fun. Now, did I break anything in doing that? You know what? Control-Z should just take me all the way back. Comma is expected. You know what else is expected? Okay. I could have just undid changes, all changes to it, but whatever. Whoa, I just made myself dizzy. All right. So if you do have something more specific, like a very specific scenario, then maybe we could talk about how exactly to address yours, how I would approach yours. And the reason that most teachers aren't like me is because a lot of people understand how to give the right amount of information, and I usually just end up giving all of the information. But a lot of people tend to think that here is the best approach, so I'm going to tell you the best approach to do a thing, and you're just going to use that. And I'm like, I don't know the best approach. Here are 10,000 options, and that's usually overwhelming. Or I assume it's overwhelming. Teachers are really good at what they do as far as being able to give you the right amount of information, or at least it doesn't even have to be yeah, they don't have the same feeling that I do. That's like, I'm not 100% right. I know of all of these options. You choose what's best for your situation. Whereas a lot of them will just be more like, here's the answer. Here's how you should do it. Period. No consideration for what are you actually trying to accomplish. No. This is how you do that. This is the answer. Okay, so for example, I need the answer for how do I get this thing to work the way that I want it to? I kind of just don't. I kind of want to leave this at a modal, and whenever I need it, I will pop it up, type in some numbers, get the value, copy the value, and close it and paste it in to wherever it is that I need the value for. That's terrible. I don't want that. I want to be able to move this thing around. But anyway, Gilgamesh is saying, why my teachers aren't like you? Coleslaw said, 10 months into JavaScript, I can say I am 100% overwhelmed. I get it. And then Gilgamesh says, it's so complex, I still don't know what the issue I have processing the data since mapping to products are so different. Yeah, just try to consider those types of things from a what is it in the end that you want out of it. Because you don't necessarily know how the data is going to be structured, you might know what the end goal is. What are you doing, Crisp? Stop it with the pop-ups. That was weird. You might know what the end goal is if it's in the DB process as much as you can on the DB side. Yes, I like this. Just another tidbit. It's kind of built for that stuff. Yeah, and that's another benefit of using Link. And if you have Entity Framework, then you can do all of your .where, filter all of your data, write the instructions for how you want it sorted at the end, and then let Entity Framework decide what the correct SQL is that you will run on the database when you evaluate it, when you .to list or when you .to array or whatever it is that you're doing to enumerate or to materialize your query. See, I'm misclicking keys now. That's my fault. Yeah. It isn't always fantastic, but they have done an incredible job of making it better than it used to be. A lot better than it used to be. If you are okay with it and you're finding that Entity Framework is not giving you what you want, and you still want to avoid needing to do stuff like parameterized queries or raw SQL, then you could still address that by creating views in your database, and then .where on those views, or stored procedures where you would use parameters. I'm mumbling that one because I still don't like that approach. I would prefer having views over stored procedures. Now, if you're doing highly complex calculations and stuff, then yeah, maybe a stored procedure would be more beneficial than doing it in C#, but I prefer having all of my business logic in my apps code. Yeah, true. I mean, depending on the scope of your app, the size of it, how many people it reaches, how many requests you're getting, that's when you would really start to consider, is my SQL being done really well? Something like this, I don't really care all that much because it's my data only, my local server. Entity Framework would be able to do this and create my queries for me. Whatever it creates is good enough. I'm so mad at this draggable container. So mad right now. How do I make you do what I want you to do? Let's think about this draggable container real quick. Think about it hard. Did you do it? Okay, moving on. We can see the events getting fired. One thing that looks like is happening is when we start to drag, the actual container itself moves somewhere that we don't have access to. And let's do two things. Let's go await task delay 5 seconds. Although one thing that I have liked doing is time span from seconds, milliseconds. Actually, does task delay just take a time span? It just takes a time span. I like using time span more for any time that I want to do task delay lately. It's been a mess. Oh, it's got to be this invoke async. Oh, no, that's on drag end. That should be fine. Okay, so what I want to do is to have drag end wait for 5 seconds before turning dragging off, so that we might be able to see what's happening to the draggable container. And so the draggable container, thank you so much for the follow, am2892. Note, watching the imitation game will make you want to code, but won't make you better. You people amaze me. Okay, back to studying. Programming wa fundes. Okay, what was I going to do? I was going to give my draggable area a background color of everyone's favorite color, salmon. I know all of you love this color. Calculator is looking better. I've been muted. Hello, Peter. Okay, for some reason it is not taking my styles. So I'm still failing at it, if you can hear me right now. The calculator itself definitely looks good, and it works the way that it's supposed to. I really probably should have went to getting the key presses to work so you can use numpad or the number keys across the top of your keyboard. That would have been easier than this, but I honestly thought that the draggable area was going to be easy to do. So you saw there that it definitely took the correct styles. Oh. But the one thing that I didn't see was our draggable containers styles updating to position absolute. This thing here did not update. So what if I did Thank you. Have I been losing weight off of my chin? But I had a beard and it fell off. No, I've weighed the same for about 8, 9, 10 plus months now. Like I fluctuate between 178 and 185, I think. I defluctuate. Oh yeah. Oh man. Again, it really depends on what the goal is. You could just as effectively use nested for loops. You could use parallel for eaches if your whatever you're processing allows you to process multiple items at the same time. You could use link to trim down all of the items that you need only, and all of the data from the items that you need only, so that when you do loop through it, you have the least amount of loops to go through. I mean, link is a good skill to have. Understanding how to write link statements is a good skill to have in general. So you wouldn't be hurt by learning link. But for your specific problem, it really depends. Make it work and get to work. Okay, all right. Position absolute in set 0. Okay, so here's one of the major issues that's going to happen. When I do position absolute, oh, yeah, and it's because my calculator isn't showing. Okay. So frustrating. What is happening, Max? You had enough points for it. How are you doing? Go to sleep, get a great rest, and then get to work. Because Gilgamesh said I've been up for 3 days straight. Are you a manager by chance, Peter? Yeah, that's what I need to do. I just need to sleep for like 7 days straight. Oh my goodness. I really don't get what's going on. So when we start dragging, we know that my container, my drag area wrapper, expands the way that it's supposed to. It gets position fixed in set 0, transform unset, which is good. But for whatever reason, my drag position is moving to the left of the draggable area, and that's because of my logic for how to calculate my actual positions. Oh, right. Now we're talking. So, we're French. You're going to high school now. Awesome. Are you a freshman, first year? And then end will say some negative number. Or null. Why does end say null? I don't get that. I really need to scrap this and start it over. Oh, end is null initially because left and top do not get set. Oh, okie dokie. Okie dokie. Oh, okie dokie. Thank you for the follow, Isley. Zero? Isleo? Isleo? Max says, I don't know how it is in the US, but after 10th grade, you can go further and make 11th, 12th, and 13th. And then I got my, I don't know what it's called. Your diploma, your degree, your high school graduation diploma. So in the US, typically it's 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, which is freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. Other people call it first year, second year, third year, fourth year in other places. But it's, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. And a lot of people typically start in kindergarten before first grade. And then there are others that even start earlier in preschool before kindergarten. So you can go pre-K through 12 for the standard education system. So you're a freshman. Easy. Yeah. Okay, so what I think is happening is because we have not dragged, left and top are not set. And because left and top are not set, the position styles doesn't get updated. Therefore, I need to set left and top on drag start. I don't think this is going to work the way that I want it to still. I really need to brain this out. You know? Why didn't that keep left? Still doesn't work. So we definitely have our left and top set the way that we need it to. Man. Show me the calculator again. That's not going to work. Yeah, so the reason that position absolute inset 0 isn't going to work is because the actual size of the container wrapper is 0 plus the border size times 2. And so inset 0 is not actually doing a thing. And then on top of that, I have transform translate -50 -50. So this would also need to be in set. Except I don't. What? I'm so confused. Help me. Content. Yeah, I'm not liking this at all. I don't like it at all. Let's do position block, which is its default. But I need something in style. Okay, so that gives me that. Why is it still... Why is my draggable container still taking up the entire size? Oh. Oh, the reason why is because it's going from... Wait a minute. No, it's not. I'm not unsetting drag until after the 5-second delay. Let's get back our state has changes. And again, I honestly don't know if hot reload is working or if it's just being weird. Max continued to say, by the way, I could choose 2 lessons where I get more into like where there are only people that are interested in that. And I chose math and IT. Math is the hardest way of high school. IT is computer science-ish. I'm 10,000 years old. In binary. In binary. 0, 1. Wait, what? 2, 4, 8, 6. Oh yeah, I guess that is 16. One, 2, 4, 8, 16. Yes. 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 I can't do brain right now. Excuse me. More water, please. Okay. So I still don't quite understand why my position styles are not being applied while dragging is true. We can see the position styles get applied to the drag wrapper, but we should see them applied to this thing on drag start while I'm dragging. And it is. Wait, it is. But we're not doing position. Gotcha. Oh, that's also going to be an issue. Oh my goodness, there are so many things to consider with this. I'm going to do one thing that should fix a little bit of it. And that is I will set position to absolute with left and top. But the problem is that my X and Y coordinates are going to be relative to the client and not to the container. Okay, all right, so this is a little bit better. Okay, let's get rid of the, what is this called? Delay. Let's get rid of the hair, the hat, the comfy chair. All right. Wait, I got rid of the delay. Oh, because I needed to rebuild. That's so weird. Why didn't you tell me to rebuild any other time? Are we good? Did you refresh? Did you do the thing? All right, I think we did it. It's still a little bit laggy, but I think that has to do with the console. So we'll get rid of this beautiful background color. What are the chances that because the background is transparent, my drag over is not actually working? Oh. Wait, no, it's working. Okay, so let's get rid of these console right lines. And then we'll see if we need to do something to maybe debounce the movement. And that would be the reason that I wanted to use animation so that it's not so choppy. Instead, I will tell it, here's where you're trying to go, animate from your current position to the place you want to be at. Irish John Games does a much better way of describing how that works. Check out his stream later today. Plug. Check out his game on Steam. Ooh. But I think we have it though. As soon as I get rid of these console right lines, we should see a slightly smoother animation. Come on. Not animation, but movement. I really don't know what this is. Like is my CPU just at like 1,000? Or what? Yeah, it's at 80. Why do you do this? Why do you do this? Chrome. Chrome is taking up all of my processor. Not my RAM, my processor. Although it is taking up 1.7 gigs of RAM. Oh. Could just be the stuff that I'm doing in here. Yeah, like I scrolled and there it goes. All I did was delete a line and save. Okay, so this thing should no longer be printing out to console. I said it should no longer be printing out to console. And it does move a lot smoother. And what about when the calculator is actually showing? Yeah, it moves smoother. It's all right. I mean, it would be nice to see it different. The other thing that I don't honestly know how to or what to do with. Ooh. Yeah, that would be another reason for demounts. Anyway, it's doing what I want to do, so that's good. I need it to move no further than the current width of the screen because I don't want to be able to have scroll bars. But yeah, the two things that I want to fix are getting rid of the actual dragged image. So you can see that you can read draggable area as a dragged image. I may as well get rid of, well, no, I'm going to leave that there for now because I am planning on doing stuff with this border. I'm going to make it look more calculator-y. Awesome. Thank you so much for the follow, the Iron Shark. But yeah, so this is going to be good for now. We at least are able to drag the calculator around the screen and still interact with stuff on the actual page. I guess the other thing that I would really need to do is make sure that when the calculator isn't showing, that we don't have this draggable area mess going on. 5 plus 2, yeah, okay. And that is because that's where the top of it is. What is all of this extra space then? Why is there all of this extra space? We'll get that cleaned up. But yeah, we accomplished the whole being able to move the calculator around the screen. Inside of a new draggable component, we can put anything we want inside of this draggable component and it'll work. Are you currently on top of? You are on top of the edit transaction stuff. So this is where I anticipate needing my calculator the most. Like, let's say that my subtotal here was actually the price plus tax. It was the total. So I would want to edit that and be like, what is 2035 less 223? And then I would update this value to 1812. And then update. And we're done. Cool. Okay, so then I also need a way to dismiss the calculator was the second thing. Oh, Dukasoft, thank you so very much for your resub. You came in at the last minute just to do that. Really, really appreciate that. How have you been? Probably super duper busy. But yeah, the Iron Shark says I'm just dropping in to say why. And I missed some more of chat. Peter said, show us Task Manager, Chrome. But you're watching streams. Browser dragging never works great. It does. So the reason it's so choppy here is because I'm changing the direction that it's going as I'm moving it around. And the thing that I could do is say sample the position that the cursor is currently every, let's say, 20 milliseconds, and make that my new position that I'm targeting, so that when I update left and top, I can use CSS to say animate I can use CSS to animate the left and top, for example. And that way it's like, okay, here I'm gonna go from here to there, and it'll take me 20 milliseconds to go from here to the new left and new top. And then it'll sample again and say, here's my new position that I will start heading to. And then if you move to another position, then it's like, I didn't make it to that position yet, so I will start heading to that other position immediately. And at a 20 millisecond interval, I think it should be fine, but we'll be able to see it later. For now, the thing that matters is it's working. So let's do a quick commit. And I will have this finally on GitHub for created, nope, updated, updated, draggable component. Dukesoft was here. Yeah, 22 months is a really long time. I really appreciate, oh my gosh, you can't spell. Really appreciate that so very, very much. Your support is phenomenal. Okay, so I'm gonna commit that. Good enough for me. We're definitely gonna need a close button, and we're gonna need to figure out where all of this extra space is coming from. We're gonna need, yeah, just a close button. Negative numbers. Okay. So that's it. We did it. We got a thing done. Next stream will be a community day. So probably won't be working on this, but maybe I will. The thing that I want to do next with this, aside from having a close button and whatnot, is to be able to use keyboard entry when the calculator is open, so that we can just type numbers. But the thing is, we would need to be focused on the calculator and not in some other random text field or input field or whatever. If you re-implement literally everything as part of a canvas, you know, that's not a bad idea, Peter. I like that idea. Thank you, Dukesoft. So I will be posting this VOD to YouTube no sooner than 24 hours after I end the video. So if you're interested in seeing what exactly we did, where you can skip around and make me talk faster and whatever you do when you watch YouTube videos, feel free to do that. And I talked about him earlier today. I do see that Xcoding, the one that I said is building his own editor, is streaming. So we're going to raid over there. Also, feel free to join us on Discord. We have a great community of really cool people. Peter, Dukesoft, all of the people up here in Strim, Gilgamesh, Napalm, Mojo, Tyron, Lisi. Yeah, everyone that spoke. Everyone that said a thing. Yeah, they all hang out with us on Discord as well. Very helpful, very friendly, very encouraging, and very just do it kind of thing. Nothing works in a canvas, but it'll look great. I'll use SVG transformations instead then. No, I'm not going to do that. All right, anyway, I'll be lurking on other people's streams, including Xcoding, which I actually need to start lurking in now that we're heading over there so that I can hear him when he talks and greets us. But until the next time, again, Friday is Community Day. Feel free to join us. Hop onto the voice call if you want, no pressure. And then I will see you again on Friday. Ciao for now.